The legendary Ennio Morricone passed away on July 6th at the age of 91. Whether it was his iconic scores for spaghetti westerns, gangster movies, or horror films, it was impossible not to hear a tune from Ennio in your head if you've ever been in the middle of a Mexican standoff while on your way to drop off a bomb briefcase. The man was a modern Beethoven. As much as I would love to count down my favorite Ennio themes, that might be a little tough to edit and pass through on YouTube, but on Twitter I did put some highly underrated scores, such as Exorcist II, Navajo Joe, Almost Human, and Investigation of a Citizen Above Suspicion. And let's throw in some other greats too, like The Mission, Casualties of War, Once Upon a Time in America, and Bird with a Crystal Plumage. But the great thing about cruising some of the movies Ennio provided the score for are the titles. My God, talk about I am renting this based solely on the title. The Year of the Cannibals? Well, at least you'll always be full. A Sky Full of Stars for a Roof? Someone hit the mix button on my Tennessee Williams plays. Cat O' Nine Tails, When Women Had Tails, When Women Lost Their Tails. We got a sale on tails here, people. Come play with me? Oh, you bet I will. Here are 10 awesomely titled movies that Ennio Morricone did the score for. Let's start out rather simple. In 1979, we got a Max von Sydow dramedy directed by Stefano Rolla, and I'm having trouble finding exactly what it's about, but don't worry about that. The movie is called Footloose. Obviously, this kid just found out there's no dancing in this town. Oh, jump back, and Max von Sydow is gonna smack him in the face with a Bible because the power of Christ compels him not to dance. There were plenty of mafia-exploitation movies in the 70s, such as Mr. Scarface, of course, but one of them wants you to immediately have The Godfather on your mind when you watch the film. So what do we call it? What else do we call it? Corleone! I'm gonna tell my friends this is The Godfather Part 3. Though with it being about two friends who grew up together, one's a criminal, the other isn't, it's Godfather 3 if it had the plot of Angels with Dirty Faces. If you got a spaghetti western and Ennio does the score, obviously it's gonna have an awesome title, like Death Rides a Horse or My Name is Nobody, but I particularly like the title of this 1964 Pat Garrett revenge movie, Bullets Don't Argue. I can agree with this. I tried arguing with a bullet once and I got my face shot off. Somehow that's how I lost my hair. 1971 gave us a timeless tragedy of incest and revenge. Don't you just hate it when you get married, but oops, she's pregnant by her brother. Happens to the best of us. That's a joke, by the way, but what's real is the title, 'Tis Pity She's a Whore. Now, in fairness, this is based on the 17th century John Ford play, 'Tis Pity She's a Whore, so there's plenty of other 'Tis Pity She's a Whore adaptations. I just love the title, 'Tis Pity She's a Whore. Whoa, there's something sinister going on here in this 1975 drama. It's a story about a prostitution racket where women are sold like slaves. That's because the movie is called The Teenage Prostitution Racket. Who has the rights to this title? This could have been used for a Jeffrey Epstein biography or a sequel to 365 Days. There's a thin line between what could be an Italian comedy title or a spaghetti western title. I had to look up what genre this is because the title could serve as either. But it is a dramedy about a bank cashier allergic to banknotes who decides to take up a life of crime as a bank robber. Honestly, that plot could also be a western, just like the title. Property is no longer a theft. That's why I broke into your house to steal this title. It's no longer theft. I'm going to use this title for everything now. let's get some Hope and Crosby-style shenanigans in here with this 1972 comedy from Django's Sergio Corbucci. A theater director and his assistant need some money, and one thing leads to another, and they're in the middle of a Mexican revolution in What Am I Doing in the Middle of a Revolution? A title like this sounds like it could either be a journal entry from John Marston or some Woody Allen revolution shenanigans like Love and Death, Bananas, or Ants. Let's get into some science fiction. We got a zany comedy about 4 aliens who have come to Earth disguised as humans to study human life. No, it's not a Lost Tramps film or an original pilot to Third Rock from the Sun. It's the 12-Handed Men of Mars. Something about that just sounds like it's gonna have a sex scene with E.T. that I'd have to review. Everyone knows Joseph Stalin, and of course that Stalin screams comedy. Why else would Bugs Bunny play him? Hey, Helmut Berger starred in some Nazi-exploitation movies, so why not have a Stalin caper comedy under his belt? I have no clue if Stalin is actually in the film, but the title certainly asks some questions, like, what did Stalin do to women? I don't know, but it can't be good. Actually, I do know. Stalin made his women tigresses of Siberia, obviously. I am almost terrified to find out what this title has to do with the movie. In this very Shakespearean thriller, a young man fears that his brother and sister may want him dead when he comes home to his father's funeral. Why does he suspect this? Well, it could have something to do with the title, which is Kill the Fatted Calf and Roast It. Does that happen in the movie? Do they turn him into a calf and roast him? Does someone eat his dick, like at the end of The Cook, the Thief, His Wife, and Her Lover? I just gotta know how the calf factors into this and why they spoiled its demise. That does it for this list. The soundtracks to these movies and hundreds more are easy to find, so make a day of it. What were some of your favorite Ennio scores? Let us know in the comments below, and as always, subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell to get alerts on new videos.